Hello, I'm really excited to have this little bundle to play with. This is from Doux Designs. By the way, I'm Soup. I'm here to craft with you today. And I sat next to Sandy Doux at Paper Ganza, and so I wanted to support my new friend. Here's what I got. I got some Galaxy shaker bits. We're going to use one of these today. This one for the project that we're going to do today. And then there's this stencil set. I'm not going to be using this today. This has a mask and the stencil. And then there is 2 stamp sets. I'm not going to use this one today. I am going to use this one today. I've already colored up this little astronaut and this rocket ship. And then it also came with some dies. Okay. I just made this card this past weekend with Karen Burniston's class. And I think that I want to use this Whirly Wheel Die set. Now here's how I've already colored these up. I'm not the colorist that Sandy Doux is, so please forgive me for that. And I've already cut out my wheel. So I've already cut this down. And I'm thinking that I can have this rocket over here. And this will be behind the rocket. And then with this wheel, the rocket will shoot up and he will be standing over here. We might have to cut him off a bit because just for the perspective. And maybe even pop him up a little and have him be in front of that rocket. But that's what I'm thinking, is that he'll be in front of the rocket and the rocket will take off. And when the rocket takes off, however it will take off, then this Follow Your Dreams will show up. So I've already cut most everything out. I don't want it to be too obvious. Like that white is just too stark white. And I think I'm gonna go with this gold color around his helmet and we'll just see how it looks. And if it looks like trash, well then it'll look like trash, or we'll change it or try something else. I do have a memento marker. I could use that. That might be too black though. I've already started. I think maybe blacker will be better. All right, I don't hate it. So for this, I'm going with a nice bright yellow card base here. I thought it really brought out the yellow part of the planet there. So I've moved this over and I marked it on the back and I'm just gonna cut that out. I do not have really good fussy cutting skills, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Let's see. This is white core paper, as you can see. And I had already gone around it with black marker or pen, whatever this is. So I'm just gonna do that with my little cutout. This is actually going to go in between those two. So that will be right in there. Okay, and then how this works is she suggests putting like packing tape over the top of these little wings. And she suggests doing it over this as well. I didn't on this just because this paper is pretty slick. So I think that it will be just fine. Now this little guy goes in this little hole. And then on the back side, you make sure that you fold them back out. And then I cut this one out of this paper again. It's smooth, so I'm not worried about having packing tape on that piece. And this little guy goes on this side. And this side did get a little rougher because of the cutting plate, so I'm gonna put it through that rough side. And that way these guys will run up against this other smooth side of the paper. Okay, so then I'm just gonna stick these two little friends together in there and push those out. And then you can see I started putting the arrows on the wrong side. Then I'm just gonna run some glue along this part, and that's the only thing that will be glued down. And I think that I want to ink this a little bit though. Wasn't planning on doing any inking, but I just think that that will work there. Okay, so then I want to glue this on there, and I want to make sure that this isn't like way out. We want this lined up just right. So I wanted it about there, I think. And I'm just going to make some marks. So that I can get it lined back up. And this just has the Nouveau glue. Is that what it's called? I think it is. And so I'm just going to put some little dots around here. You want to make sure that it's not going to interfere with these guys and that it's not going to get onto the wheel itself. When we were doing our cards on Saturday, these cards, I kept trying mine too soon, and so it kept popping off. So this one, I think that maybe I better leave this over here, pinned down, so that it really dries. In the meantime, you can see on my rocket, I didn't really do a good job of coloring those in, and that is because I had another idea. And I just made this little thing. There's a little piece of acetate on it as well. And I'm going to put that on the outside. Now, I still need to make the one for this side, so I thought that I would show you how I do that. Because here's what I'm using. I've got this punch and this punch. I think this is 3/4 of an inch. Is this one 3/4 of an inch? Maybe this one is 3/4 of an inch. That one's 1/2 an inch. I don't know. That's what I have. Here's how I do it. I'm going to take this and I'm gonna go ahead and set it in the middle here, and then, or you can just eyeball it. I still am just eyeballing it, but I'm gonna try to poke this with my pokey tool in the center, and then I'm gonna poke it even more. And hopefully that's pretty centered. If it's not, I'll know pretty soon. Then I'm going to stick it in here. And you just kind of have to tap it in there. Whoa. Okay. And then once I get it in there to where I can see my hole, I'm going to stick my pokey tool back in there. I'm going to line this up so that my pokey tool now is in the center of this. And then I'm going to punch. You can see that that's off. I don't want it to be off like that. This doesn't look like it's off, so, oh, I guess it does a little bit. So I have another one. Sorry about my head. Is that in the center? No. This isn't a foolproof plan, as you can tell. Okay, now I'm gonna try to get this lined up in the center again. I don't know, that seems like it'd be centered. It looks centered there, but let's see if my little ring is centered. Or centered-ish. I don't know, I don't feel like that's too bad. I think that I can live with that. So I think that I will. And then I've already cut out my other piece of acetate. I'll go ahead and stick a little glue on here. Wipe it off a little. And then stick this on there. And then this is going under a magnet. And let's see how this is doing. Okay, so now I can spin that around. So now this will be stuck up here. So let's see, this is the lowest point. We need to find the lowest point, and then is this rocket? So this shouldn't be a problem. I'm going to, it has this little sleeve. For testing purposes or for use. Whichever way it works out. Your little tab goes on the outside. So I'm going to put a little glue on that and hold that down. And then I'm going to put just temporary glue on this because there is this little tiny die in this set right here. And that is going to put a slit in this paper. And so I will have this paper over here and this rocket here, and the slit will be behind the rocket, and then it will move up with that paper. But I first want to put this on to see how it's going to move. I think that if I just put it on here like that, it'll be fine. But I'm going to put a little bit of temporary glue on it. Ugh, my goodness. Just to see how it moves around on there. So it will kind of go at an angle on there then. I don't want to get glue all over. Bring it back down and then see where it will be. So if we put it right there, that'll be like right on the edge of the card. Will that be okay? We want it over just a little bit. Over just a little bit. And then it will kind of shoot off that way, come back around, and land. I think that'll be okay. I mean, it's maybe not like straight up and down, but I don't think that it needs to be. So, okay. So then if I put this down there, then I want the slit in my paper to kind of line up with that. And I'm just trying to kind of feel, I can feel where it is. So I'm just gonna mark that on there, see if I can see it. I can see it okay. And I'm gonna run that through, and then I'll take this off because this slit will do the job. Okay, that cut through there just perfectly. Put this little teeny tiny die back. Now I'm going to take off this temporary arm. I'm just going to take my adhesive eraser. Okay. So now this arm will go through here. I was going to say, I don't like how that's yellow through there, but you won't see it because this rocket will be on there. And this rocket might actually be down a bit lower. Let's see, is that the lowest position? I think it was. Okay, so this is like the lowest position. Yep, that's pretty much straight up and down. Okay, so now I'm going to do more temporary glue on here. see where I want the rocket to actually line up. So I can have it as far down on there as I want. So if I have it right there, then where would this need to be? Let me temporarily stick this down too. You can see I did not do a very good job on the fussy cutting. It is not my best thing. Okay, and this would be like right down here, down a little further. It just barely fits under there. Okay, rocket up there, this down here. Oh dear, what's happening? Oh my. Okay, I'm not very happy about that. I didn't think that would show through. Well, let's see, how far over will this go? I think I might cut this paper again because I don't want that happening. So I think that I won't cut the notch out of this. Like that notch is too big. We don't want that showing through, so I'm gonna cut another page of this. Okay, so I cut this one just a little bit bigger. So I'll have a little bit less space around. I think that will be fine. I'm going to line this up and put the little mark back in the same spot. And then mark it. And then I should be able to put it right back on there. I just got my yellow tape today and I'm so excited that I get to actually use it. I had never used yellow tape before I was at Paperganza. And it actually was Sandy Ledoux that let me use her yellow tape. I cut something out on her little die cutter, on her little die cutting machine, and she had yellow tape up there. So that was pretty cool. And I liked it. So then I knew I had to have some. Okay, my arrows don't really show real well through that, but I think I would rather just leave it anyway, like that. And I think I'm going to. That's not catching on anything and it's doing what it's supposed to do. And I'm going to use a little bit of foam tape to put this on. And I'm going to go ahead and put it on because I think it's ready to go. I don't think that this will, well, maybe I should test that. I really don't think that this is going to be a problem. Let's see. I think that's about where it was. And then this rocket will stick on this arm. And then this will spin. It still kind of covers it a little bit as it's going, but I think that it's okay. I don't mind it. So I'm gonna go with it. Okay. I'm gonna leave that on there temporary right now. I like the black for this. I obviously need to get more black because this was all that I had in the square black and this kind of thinner profile. I think that's not going to be a problem there. Okay, and then one up in this corner. I can't put any in this corner because that rocket kind of comes around there and we don't want to interfere with that. So I am going to put a couple extras on this side. This is the one that I'm using now. So these should all be fine. This one was probably fine too. Actually, that rocket won't be a problem because it will move on top of this, so I can still put one up there. It will actually be fine to have them all along the top. How about down this side too? One more. Okay, that should work out just fine. And then I think that I want, because you can see that on the back, I'm gonna glue this black piece on there. Looks like it can. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and peel these off. Okay, and then I'm just going to use my regular little glue here. Put that guy through there. And then now just line this up. Get it as centered and best as I can, without stressing about it, because this is a handmade card, and if you want it to be perfect, then you should get it from Hallmark. Okay, I think that's good. Give it a try. That's still working. Okay, now let me glue this black piece on. I just want this guy to have a little bit more strength to him. And I think that'll do it. I just want to make sure that this is on the smoothest side possible. Okay, my struggle to get this on here straight. Should explain why I need glue that does not dry fast. I like slow, slow, slow drying glue. Okay. Now we want this down at the bottom again. And this needs to be covering that up, so it's got to be exactly right there. So oops. Oopsie. Let me just one more time. Bring it down there. Cover this up. Cover this up. Okay, and then I'm going to cut that extra off. Okay, there's not much wiggle room there, so I really gotta get it on there just right. Okay, now we're gonna have a little astronaut. I don't know, he kind of needs to be in front of the rocket, just so that he's a little more hefty. Yeah, that just gives him a little more weight. You know, I have to be careful on what I'm putting on that side. Let's see. Okay, so then he'll sit up a little bit there. And then, oh, let's make sure he's stuck down. Okay, that'll be okay there. Yep. That's the spot for him. I've got to cut his feet off. Okay, I actually still have to glue that on for permanencies, because it just has the temporary. I gotta get it in just the right spot. No, little tail, don't get in there. Okay, I think I got it. Oh dear. That is causing some problems. And so is that. As long as it's flat, it's fine. Okay, it does still seem like it's fine. It's not going to be going through the mail. So I think it'll be fine. Okay, now I do always do the inside of my cards. So So this one will be a little different. I'll have to cut that out. This one I can do like this. And I'll just cut that out. I will horribly fussy cut it, but okay, we'll call that good. I also forgot to put my little windows that I wanted on my, where is that little window? One of them is right here. Aha, there's the other one. They are just a little tiny bit big, but I'm gonna go with it because that's what I have. So I'm just gonna put some little dots on there. Line that one up. I should have done this part before I stuck this on here, but I didn't. This is not a perfect ring, but okay. Now I've got my little slit cut out from there. And what do I want to put on the inside? We've got follow your dreams. Be brave. Shoot for the stars. Creativity takes courage. You're out of this world. And happy birthday. So, what am I going to go with? I think I'm going to put be brave, shoot for the stars. I think the be brave is straight. I think the shoot for the stars needs to be straightened a little bit. Okay, check it. Not sticking. Let's just take a moment to clean that up. All right, I'm good with this. Now, do I want to put this little guy down there? Maybe a couple little spaceships up there? I kind of do. The inside's got to have stuff in it too. He's just going to be down here in the corner. Could be a little surprise inside. Look what's waiting for you, astronaut. Okay, that's good. He looks cute. He looks so cute there. And now we just need a couple of little alien ships up here. Okay, I have the hardest time with stamps that are silhouettes like this, like full. But we'll see. These are pretty little. So hopefully I'll get it. They worked very well. They worked very well. I'm going to keep this one out because the other thing, well, I'm going to put it on a little block though. I guess I'll have to go on this one. Okay, one more step. And then I'll glue this in and then it will be done. I pretty much always use this stamp on the back of all my cards. In case you don't know, this is a May stamp set. In case you don't know who May is, what rock have you been living under? Okay, just like that, and okay, so I'm just going to glue this down. And sign it. And there's our finished card. I like the inside. And there's the smudgy back. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today, and I hope that you like this card. I really enjoyed using Sandy Ledoux's products. The stamps are of a high quality. This paper, you can see, is kind of glossy and beautiful. And I love how this card turned out. I hope you do too. Bye.